Good morning, everyone.
Good
We
morning.
are for a live creator chit chat this morning. It takes it just a minute to kind of get together, but we are live. So good morning, everyone. If you are in the chat today, please make sure that you say good morning and let us know that you're in the chat so we can acknowledge you. I'm super excited for my live creator chit chat today because it is with Katherine Young from Katherine Young. It was easy for me to remember. Good morning, Barbie. Barbie from Funk and Junk. I love to say her name is here. So good.
So I actually can't see the chat. I'll pull it up on my phone so I can watch, but
yeah, on Streamyard, you won't be able to see it. Only the person running Streamyard will be able to see that. But we usually have a second device. Like I can't read it from here because I'm blind, even with my glasses on. So I use my iPad. That way I can read and respond. And since the lag, there is like a 10-second lag.
Yeah.
When you do your sales, do you use Streamyard or you go straight through?
I use Streamyard. But I'm used to, like, I'm the creator, so I'm used to seeing that chat. So for me, this is a little weird not seeing it there.
Yeah.
So
good morning, Mom. My mom, Bella Rose, is in the chat.
good morning.
She is she's in your predicament. She is moving. So Mom Katherine is moving still too. She's in the purging stage right now because she's waiting on some things to get done. And so she sent me this video this morning with all of these things. She was like, I'm getting rid of all of this. Do you see anything you want?
Oh God. So I ran out of time moving. I had a kerfuffle, multiple of them, plus of death in the family, everything, and I ran out of time. So I am purging once I moved. So it's like, ugh, like I wish I would have done this before, but I just didn't have time. So
when I moved, I didn't have time. Well, when I chose to move and I moved from South Carolina to Texas, I was just like, you know what? I got to be out. Pack it all up. I'll deal with it when I get there. But that led to like stuff on top of stuff and top of stuff.
Yes. Oh.
And then when we recently had the house construction, they had to literally every room in the house was cleared. Like it was empty in sections and stages. So everything that we didn't immediately need is still in the garage.
Yep.
So furniture, jewelry, medicine, everything that we had that we didn't need right now to finish out our day-to-day jobs is in the garage. So now that we're going to be off in the 200-degree heat of Texas in July, we're going to be doing the garage.
Of course.
So that's fun. Barbie says your necklace is stunning on.
Well, thank you. I thrifted it yesterday.
You did?
Good.
Where did you find that?
So we have a thrift store up here. I'm not sure if it's a national chain called Savers. And this is a Miriam Haskell. It is signed Miriam.
Oh, wow.
I have never paid this much for something at a thrift store before. But when you see something like this, you go for it. And it's actually an item that I probably have to have appraised. It's
that is so cool.
I love the like the swooping.
Mm-hmm.
It actually is very much too small for my neck, but I use necklace extenders. So that's a tip for everyone who loves vintage jewelry. I actually have 3 necklace extenders on this to be able to wear it, but it works.
Yeah, I saw that tip in your recent video. You had it was, what is it? Plus size vintage.
Yep.
Is the video, and I was like, I never even thought about an extender because the necklaces, you know, I mean, they were short. They're like choker style, but when you have some beef on your body, that doesn't work, and you don't get it because you can't fit it, but you love it so much. So that was a really great tip. Miss Dolores, Miss Damn Jewelry is in. Dolores from is here. Yes, Mother said just shoot her now. She's over whole thing. Let's see. Yes, Barbie says great tip on that. Yes. But y'all, that video is really cool. She actually gave tips about different types of clothing. You gave tips about jewelry. I love what I call it like a house robe, but
Yeah.
it's not, it's something else, but it's like the really flowy, you know, where they used to wear the fur heeled slippers with the, okay. So I love those because you walk and they flow. But when you want to wear them and they're like too big or something, you were like, well, just belt it up. And I was thinking, well, God, I never thought to belt it up.
Yeah.
So that's a good video, y'all. If you you just released that this week or last week? I watched it 2 days ago.
No, it's been a while, but you'll see it. Go check it out. I have one on how to wear vintage house coats, and then I have one on plus size vintage tips. So you'll see them. Go check them out.
Yes, they're letting me know it's not a flowy house robe; it's a caftan.
Yep. And I do house coats, house robes, house dresses. I do them all in that video.
And I loved how you were like, hey, yes, this is a modern piece, but look at the style, like that Jackie O collar or something. It's very still, they're copying the styles. So it was a really good video. I enjoyed that. So I just want to say good morning to everyone that's in the chat. If you missed it, this is Katherine Young. Her YouTube channel is Katherine Young, right? Just
Yep.
Katherine Young.
Yep.
But she is a creative. And I told her, I'm going to ask you what a creative is because we don't all know, especially as older people, we don't know. And thank you, Dolores, for dropping Katherine's link to her channel in the chat. That was sweet. So welcome to my channel. Thank you for agreeing to be on my live creator chit chat.
I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I get to be interviewed by someone who knows me. Like that's exciting. Do you know what I mean? Because it brings this level of like formality, like, you know, it just takes it down. And I think it is going to be much more interesting than like when people interview me and they've never met me. And you know what I mean? So
yeah. I mean, and we've been watching your videos. We've attended live sales. I bought a cutest cat planter that I now have yellow flowers in the cat planter. It's like yellow daffodils. So cute. And it's right beside like a Holly Hobby plate that has a cat in it. And it's got yellow flowers. So it like all matches. Yeah. Good morning, Brick House Salvage and Antiques. Thank you for coming today. We are chit-chatting with Katherine, and she is about to tell us what a creative actually is. So, Katherine, take it away.
Well, you could call me a graphic designer. You could call me an author. You could call me a YouTuber. You could call me a social media marketer. There is a lot of things that I do, right? And so sometimes when somebody is a little bit of jack of all trades in creativity, they just call themselves a creative. So imagine like a team at a marketing firm, and there's like a manager on a team, and there's, you know, the CEO and all this stuff. If they need new ideas and new concepts, they say, hey, Eileen, we need a new creative on this team. So they don't necessarily just need a graphic designer. They don't necessarily just need a photographer. They need somebody who can do a lot of different things and has creative ideas. So it turns the word creative into a noun. And I didn't really realize that that was a weird way of saying it until you aren't the first person that's asked me that on my channel. Many people have asked me that. It's kind of industry jargon, and I didn't even realize it.
Wow.
But it's just a way to like define that I do a lot of creative things without being like, I'm an author, entrepreneur, illustrator, graphic designer, digital marketer. Like it you know, it's a bit much.
Because you don't want to narrow yourself, because it's not like you just do one thing.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why people ask me about my name all the time, that where I say Carolina Princess Sweet Treats and Pretties. Why is your name so long? Well, first of all, if you ever put in YouTube Carolina Princess, there is a whole clan of people who call themselves Carolina Princess, but some of them are like the muddlers, catfish muddlers. They're women that fish, like for a profession. And so it kind of was, I started out with sweet treats, but then I also dabbled in repurposing, refinishing, and flipping, and blah, 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 blah. So my friends would always say, oh, you gonna make me some sweet treats? And then they would say, oh my gosh, I love those pretties. And so we just put it together. And so I guess if you are, like you said, a person that could come up with ideas, generate the artwork for them, then turn it into a digital copy of that. That is a creative. Like, you're taking the idea and making it something that you can present to them, but you do it in multiple platforms.
Yep.
So I understand. Hey, Christine, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Michelle. I haven't even talked to Michelle this morning. She's probably busy. And hey, Miss Janice Stevens, thank you so much for coming. So I understand you actually wrote a book.
Yes.
And what is the title of your book?
So, you can see my cat behind me.
She'll make a cameo, then she's done with us. Yeah.
So the title of my book is How to Discuss Politics Online. And I know it's like the bane of everyone's existence. But I believe in advocacy, and I also believe in combating the fake news and feeding trolls and all that. And I have been working in social media for over a decade now. It feels like it shouldn't have been that long, but it's been over a decade. I started working in social media at the Walt Disney Company. And I've also had an experience of going globally viral. So I have a different viewpoint of social media than a lot of people do.
Right.
And also I grew up in a conservative, rural, small town, moved to Orlando, moved to bigger city. So like who I see on social media is completely diverse. It is like a solid split of people, and a lot of people don't get that viewpoint. And so I wrote the book honestly out of frustration of seeing people share false things over and over and over. And when you say something like, hey, like that's not a proven fact, like people are there for a fight, like they're ready to go, right? And it took emotional energy, mental energy. Like it was like I was like brace myself for a fight. So this book was kind of my solution to that. It was like, I can't stop everything. I can't help everything, but I can take all the knowledge I have and I can put it together into something. And what I really did is I took real examples, real conversations I had with people, real memes that my friends and family posted, and I explained why they worked so well and why they went so viral. And so the book is literally a picture of a meme and a paragraph explaining it. It's super succinct. The whole thing is broke out into teeny little chunks. So you can just like thrift through. You can just sift through and see like, oh, hey, I think I've seen that before, and read more about it.
So, and I think, Dolores, you said you bought the book and you are reading the book, right? I think you said that. And then I wanted you to share that. I was like, hey, I think Dolores, did you write a book? And I think Dolores is reading that book because she did me. And then you said that someone else we know, their family member bought the book or read the book and then bought the book again, right?
Yeah, it was so sweet. So I had the opportunity to meet George the Antique Nomad. And y'all, I was like, I don't get starstruck. Like, it's not a thing that happens to me. And I was like taken back, like,
I would, because he is a walking like plethora of knowledge about everything.
Yeah, and so his mom bought my book and read it. And she said it was so good that she bought copies for the whole family.
Oh, that's cool.
So that was just a real honor. I think as an author, the highest compliment you can get from anyone is a recommendation. Right. Every book is not for every person. I'm sure I have people that have written on Amazon, whatever, that the book is horrible. And that's okay, because a book isn't for everyone. And so when you look at those reviews, the reviews aren't for me, for the author, they're for you, the reader. They're for you to understand, like, hey, maybe this book isn't for me. This person really didn't like this book, and I think these reasons are why I wouldn't like the book. So it's just an honor when somebody is like, yes, I really liked the book and I recommended it to people.
That would be super cool. You know, I mean, I feel the same way about a channel. You know, if somebody recommends a channel to me, then I know they've watched it enough to kind of get not just one video or to see their whole content. And when people share like our channels, that to me, that's a big compliment, because they're saying, hey, I'm recommending this person. It's kind of like when you recommend someone for a job, you don't just put any person out there. You've seen something in that person, or you see something in these channels that you know that they would like. It's the same for a movie or a book or anything else like that. So yes, Janice, it is sunny for right now in the state of Texas. First time in weeks. I mean, I was like, does it rain every single day? Tell Noah to come get his stuff and let's move.
Oh, goodness.
It is actually sunny today, which is a blessing. I know they're having lots of graduations. Yesterday, a graduation in my district got completely, they kept going, but it was torrential downpour. And
no.
video, I mean, it was bad. You can only see like the colors moving of their cap and gown because the rain was so heavy, and it was all outside.
Oh, goodness.
So yeah, Lovey is actually at his high school where he works, his high school graduation today, and they were all fingers crossed because everybody's graduation has been moved because of the weather, and theirs was this morning at 9. And so I told Katherine that I've been up since 4:20 because he had to be there at 6:30 and he's an hour away. And so on a Saturday, I've been up since 5. So sure a nap is in his future. Oh, and she said, Miss Janice says, what's the name of your book? Dolores, will you please put the book in the chat for us so that we can share that?
The name of the book is How to Discuss Politics Online, and then the caption underneath is Stop Falling for Marketing Tactics.
There you go. There you go. But the other thing I saw in your video, because you mentioned it a minute ago that you worked for Disney, is you created a piece that was behind you in that video that I was talking. No, it's I'm a maker video.
Oh, yes.
You
yes.
put a video out. I'm sure it was an older video, but I was going back through and watching videos, and it was the I'm a maker video, and it had things that you had made people. But one of the things behind you was this awesome print where you did you make for Disney?
Yes. So I have been a Disney fan all my life. So even when I haven't worked for the company, I've done art for the company. So I've done fine artwork, and I've entered it in different fan competitions that they have. So that piece was a finalist at the D23 Expo. So every 2 years, they have a huge expo in California. It's one of the largest expos in the world, and they show 23 works of art. And so that piece was up there in California, and it was really fun to like watch people, you know, look at the piece and interact. I didn't win like the grand prize, but it was just still amazing to get my piece in the expo, my fine artwork. Right now I've done 3 pieces of fine art for Disney. One was a triptych. It just means 3 panels. That's all that means. And what the triptych has hung in conference rooms. The 2 other pieces have been on displays and competitions. One is actually in the Disney archives right now, and I don't own it anymore. And one you saw in that video, I requested to get back. So it could have gone in the Disney archives, but I just loved it so much that I wanted it back.
And I want to say good morning to Dragonfly Addict Beth, and Daniel is here. So hey, Daniel. There was something about that. Was that you had the Disney piece, some kind of things hidden in that picture?
Yeah, so for all you ephemera junkies out there, I used vintage ephemera in that piece of artwork. So you can go back in my channel. There is actually a whole video about that piece of artwork in my channel that you can see. It is a Pirates of the Caribbean piece, and it is a saucy lady laying out, and you might recognize the piece as imitating an image created by Mark Davis. And in her is all kinds of pieces of Disney ephemera, from park tickets, the E-Ride tickets. Y'all remember the ticket books that used to have A, B, C, D, and E?
Yeah.
Even what I believe is the very first mention of the Pirates of the Caribbean, I have a piece of ephemera in there that is from 1908, I think, and it was a story called The Pirates of the Caribbean, and so I put that in the painting. Like, it's really neat. So it's really kind of like a mixed media piece. It is very decoupage. Like, that is what it is.
But it was super cool the way you added all of those pieces.
Yeah.
And there's hidden meaning in each one of the layers that creates the overall image. And I thought that was really cool. And I told you, I was like, look, my mother even paid for art lessons, and I can't draw a stick man. It's just bad. Like, I can flip a piece of furniture. I can do things like, I'm a good color inside the line girl. Nobody else in my family colors inside the lines, but I'm a great color inside the line, and I'll change up the colors and all that kind of stuff. But, like creating that, I think maybe working with material versus having to make my hand do something may be easier for me, because I do layer well, but I like drawing, painting. I mean, I even took it in high school and college and paid for private lessons, and it's awful. It's just awful.
But those lessons that you took, you cannot say that those do not help your upcycling and the furniture redo. And like, you have applied lessons you've learned from that to that other creativity, right?
Color wise and things like that, like matching and taking something, bare bonesing it and making it into something totally different. Like taking something you see on the side of the road and being like, I can make a so-and-so out of this,
Yeah.
Yes, like one of my summer projects, or August projects, I think it's going to have to be after the garage, is I'm so excited about this. I found a handmade wooden rocking horse, and somebody, they were getting rid of it. Their grandchildren had only ridden it 2 times. It was a grandma's house. They're too old for it now. They paid like $300 for this solid wooden rocking horse. It's handmade, hand chiseled, the whole 9 yards. But I think what I'm going to do, because I put it in the booth just to put it in the booth, but I think I'm actually going to paint it and turn it into a unicorn.
Yes.
So I've got a piece that I have. He's learning how to use like the chisel to put grooves in and things. And I wanted to round out so it wouldn't be dangerous or anything to anybody, but I'm going to be painting it some like whimsical colors in different spots. I'm going to add ribbon and glitter to the hair pieces that he has for the mane and the tail. And we're going to affix that horn on there. But my main thing is I have to have eyelashes or something on mine, because he has painted. But I keep saying that's what I'm going to do. It's going to be a good bit of work, because he's got a high gloss varnish on it. So in order for my stuff to adhere, I'm going to have to sand it completely down. But he's even like signed it and everything. And I messaged the guy, because I was like, I don't know how much these are worth. And he was like, I actually am too old. I don't make them anymore. I think if I'm looking at what's the number on it? He told me the number. He was like, that was probably about a $300 rocking horse. He had a web page and everything. Mr. Grumpy's, or Mr. Grumpy's.
Oh.
It was a grandpa. That's a name for grandpa around here, is Grumpy. He made that. And yeah, that's one of my mother says your art lessons were to open your mind to other dimensions. We don't live in a straight black and white world. You will eventually be a great squiggle. No, she's a great squiggle. I am like totally type A inside.
See, but okay, so I would call myself a Renaissance soul, and I also put that on you, my dear. Like, I think you're a Renaissance soul as well. And, you know, I've used the example across different spectrums, but there are some people that play chopsticks on the piano, and then there are some people that play Tchaikovsky. And it's still all playing. It doesn't matter where you are on that scale. And just the idea that you followed up with a creator to just make sure that you know, to check out this horse, you're going to make it a unicorn, like just all that thoughtful intention and such, like that is a whole type of creativity. You know, I know accountants that are amazingly creative. I dated an accountant who was one of the most creative people I've ever met, but in like spreadsheet form. So I mean, creativity is just, it applies everywhere. And I agree with your mom. I do think that you learned a lot more from those art lessons than you give credit for.
Well, yes, I did love them, and I just put so much heart and effort into everything. And then, you know, you go to show your art, and you're looking at everybody's. I sing, and can play some of the piano, but I can't read music.
Okay.
I just need to hear it one time. I can harmonize with you. I can find the female vocal parts in it. I can sing whatever. I just need to hear it. But I cannot read music. Now, you can't get very far if you can't read music. I mean, I think Mom, didn't I even take guitar lessons one time? I mean, I've had piano lessons, singing lessons, guitar lessons, you know, because I like to do all these things. But if it's a lot of work, like a lot of, I have to follow your rules to kind of do it, you know, I mean, I'll follow them to an extent, but then I'm like, this is hard. I'm gonna do something else.
You know what? I am a quitter of a lot of things. And I'm like, I want people to not be ashamed of that. Okay. Like, I have quit piano lessons. I have quit trombone lessons. I have quit being in choir. I have quit being in show choir. I have quit being a cat portrait artist. Yes, I did that once. I have quit, like, there are so many things I have quit doing, and like, those were the right choices for me. I think a lot of times we try things, we kind of like it, but we don't know. We go down the path a long way, and then we go down the path long enough that we look back and we're like, if I come back, people will know. Like, if I quit now, like, that's embarrassing.
Right.
But like, it doesn't make sense for like, and you are a Renaissance soul. I can tell. Like, I know when I find them. Like, I know, like, I can just, my spidey senses tingle. And we tend to bop from a lot of different things at a lot of different times. And I know for me personally, and I think you mentioned this earlier, if I get pegged into one thing, like this is what you do, this one thing, I start getting bitter. I start getting frustrated. And the emotions inside me start welling up, and I quit. I quit a lot of things when like I feel like I'm pegged in one area. That's honestly, that's probably why my channel isn't Katherine Young Vintage.
Yeah.
Because like, I don't want to get mad at vintage, and I don't want to quit. Do you know, like, and do you know the author? Oh gosh, why can't I think of her name? I love her. She wrote Eat, Love, Pray. Anyone in the chat know who wrote that? Oh God, what's her name? Oh, that's my cat.
Don't worry. I used to have one that would scream, "Mama, mama." People were like, do you have a baby? No, it's a cat. No, I don't remember who wrote that, but actually somebody was just saying that's going to be their summer read this summer. They want to read the book and then of course watch the movie. But
so she writes all kinds of different books, right? And she writes an amazing book called Big Magic. Elizabeth, yes, it is Elizabeth Gilbert. Yes, thank you, Barbie. Thank you. She writes all kinds of different books, and because her books are all different, critics actually accused her of not writing some of her books and the publisher putting her name on it. And it's because the books were very different. She's like, no, I can just write different things.
Yeah.
And so she has this book, Big Magic. She also has a podcast where she did a few episodes. And in her personal life, her wife, who I think passed within the last 2 years of cancer, was very much the kind of person who bopped around from thing to thing to thing. And she in her whole life had professed the idea of one passion, one goal, chase that passion, go for that thing. And then she realized she was just full of crap. Not everybody runs that way. A lot of people run passion to passion to thing, and that's okay. And she's like, I married the ultimate hummingbird. She goes from thing to thing to thing to thing, and she's amazing. And I think that's a understanding that people can't always fit in the box that is easy to understand. I think that's a really mature way to look at people, and it's a really compassionate way to look at people, because I see vintage channels that work really well, and I know why. And that could be the marketer training in me too. Like, I understand that when you shop with me video and you post a video every day of the week shopping, you get a dopamine hit, right? So I'm watching that video, I'm getting the dopamine hit, and now they're selling me that item they shopped with this
So
week.
how exciting.
Yes, right? But also, I don't ever want that to be my channel.
Right.
So despite knowing that that works and I could follow that path, like, I would get frustrated, I would get bitter, I would get like it just, like, it's counter to my happiness, my like the joy of for me for creating is like surprise and difference, and not necessarily what is the easiest to understand, and what sometimes feels like the natural flow to people is maybe not my natural flow.
I like the analogy of the hummingbird. It's better than a Peter Pan. But, and my dad is like that. He, went and did this in school and went and did this in school. And then he owned a bar, and then he did this. And then, what was he, 50 or 60, and then decided he went to college, and then, got a culinary arts degree and became like the head chef of the entire university. And then he opened up a business, and then that wasn't as fun anymore. That dopamine high was down. And then, I get it very honestly. I do get it very honestly, but I do like the analogy of the hummingbird, because they are very, cute, and it's hard to tame them. It's hard to catch them. It's hard to get them to stay one place. Hey, Susan with Pickle Tink, thanks for coming. And so I do like that analogy, and that's very true. Like, I have done a whole bunch of things. That's another reason. It was sweet treats and pretties. I don't know if it's going to be a new pretty. I don't know if I made the pretty. I don't know if it's an old antique vintage pretty. And don't tell me I can't paint it, Christine. Joke between me and Christine, because everything that I get that's wood, if it's not immediately like, oh, I can restore this and make it beautiful, and if it has like a scratch, or if it has something that needs to be repaired, I'm like, I'm painting this sucker. And she's like, you don't have to paint everything. And I'm like, I actually do have to paint everything, live your life through color, as my mother says. But she's also a graphic. Christine, is it a graphic designer? Is that what you do? She makes all the big billboards. Her husband's also, he writes books and illustrates. I think he illustrates, and they're very artsy, the two of them. They do it in different ways. So, I think it fits a lot of people in this community, because you like everything from chokin Asian wear to McCoy made in USA. You like the different styles of the jewelry, whether that's the vintage 80s jewelry, or you like the 40s 50s brooches. I mean, and there a lot of people they put their hand in a little bit of everything, like, you have to kind of say, okay, I know 5 things about this, and I don't know anything about this, but somebody else does know about it. So at least they can ask somebody. Christine says, I'm an industrial designer. John does graphic art, but we are both art. We are also artists. And I know she went to college and was an art major.
Awesome.
So I get to see her stuff. I actually have one of her pieces that she made. She sent me a picture frame, and I think it's really, really cool. And I love how she added the vintage flair to it with like a copy of a cabinet card. I don't know the people, but they're cute as a bug in that frame. So I kept them in there.
Absolutely. Like, in college, she'll know what I'm talking about. like the CAD design classes, and I had to take a W because I was failing so bad.
The commercial art design class?
The CAD design, so the three-dimensional for industrial design. I looked into that, but I actually failed out of those classes. So
You didn't fail. You bowed out gracefully.
right.
So you didn't fail though. She said, "Oh goodness."
But just like you were saying, like I can't draw that. Like I could not render something 3D to save my life.
Right.
Project that I've had to have like a 3D rendering done, I've paid somebody to do it for me. Because it's just not my strength. Like it just isn't. Those programs are really frustrating to me. So I am definitely in the chopsticks lane of that one.
We're on this spectrum. She says she mainly works in Corel Draw.
Yep.
Yeah. Daniel, I have the art of tacky. You know, Daniel, you can't just put anything together and it look actually good. You have to put certain tacky things together to make it look tack fabulous. So, you know, it has to kind of flow. I mean, can't just throw anything in your camper, as we used to say. It has to all kind of match, you know. And everybody, my mom's like, you just found another way to get the result that you wanted. That's right.
Right.
That's right. So, I mean, I'm super excited to be able to take like what we do and add some vintage in there.
Yes.
Vintage, but much better.
Oh, sorry. I loved the video you did where you made the tiered tray.
Oh,
I thought that was really neat.
Well, and I have a whole box of stuff over here waiting for me to make it into something. I'm hoping that I just took a big leap and you know, I did this and I'm one of those people that I do it and I do it hardcore and I'm the top person in that area. And then I'm like, I'm done with that. So I actually just am in the process of changing positions, which is going to be a little bit different from me. We're not going to be in charge. We're going to be just doing what people tell us to do. We'll see how that works. But it will give me a lot more time, I think, to be creative. I was job. And now, I mean, I don't even have time to color a page, which I believe in adult coloring. It's very calming. You can make it look whatever you want. But I'm excited to be able to do and spend more time creating. Lovey and I actually do projects together where I see something and have a vision and I go, make that happen. You know, like secure the wood. I'm like, take this whole shelf out. He goes, if you take that shelf out, then it's just going to fall apart because that's what's bracing it. And I'm like, well, can't you fix that? And he's like, oh, great. We'll just remake it, you know? So I'm hoping that now I'll have a little bit more time for us to actually flip, like really flip the 400 pieces that are stuck in the garage that, you know, I got to do something with. So I'm excited about that. Daniel said, it's my world and I paint happy little tackies. Amen, brother. Go for it. And then she says that Christine says, I can't paint the frames. I'm painting anything I want to, Christine. Yes, because I'm famous for like, well, there's one frame that I showed, and I'll be honest. Everybody in the chat was like, that is like 100-year-old wooden handmade chiseled frame. You're not painting that. And I was like, oh, I can't paint that. They were like, no. So it actually didn't even put a picture in it. It's so beautiful by itself and just the rusticness of it, with nothing in there but the old wire behind it, that's how it's hanging in the hall. It's too pretty to put a picture in. I think it would take away from it. So I just left it like that.
Have you seen like some of those like memes or things online where somebody like actually destroyed something super valuable to make art? Oh God, I just think like I could not get this one out of my head where this woman like smashed this gorgeous swung glass vase and made like this like little glass flower. You know how they take like the glass shards?
The mosaic things?
They make like an image with glass shards and it's like a cement stone.
Yes.
Yeah, she smashed like a gorgeous big swung vase and then was like, look what I made. And like the internet roasted her. It was one of the funniest things I ever saw. Everybody was like, what?
Yeah, no, I mean, you can do that with like some no-name China pieces or something like that, but no, we're
And but like in all honesty, like we don't know what we don't know, right?
right.
I have for sure decoupaged a book, pulled it apart. Didn't realize it was a rare book. Couldn't find it again. Found it online for $250 and was like, well, I just didn't know, And it's things like that because I went to go find the book again because I was like, this book was so cool. I'd love to use it in art projects again. And it was like, oh, like just because I found it for $5 at half price books doesn't mean it was actually worth $5. It's interesting. Like even like I do a lot of like art with paper and books and stuff like that, and I've had people ream into me about how I'm destroying literature, how I'm destroying history, and it's
Right.
like this isn't the last copy of this book. Like, like there are other copies of this book. I am not like taking the story from mankind, so it's interesting. We all have our kind of like spectrum of what we're like, that's acceptable, but that is not, like we all have that line. I even really actually enjoy artists that personally push people like off that line. I think it's interesting. I mean, just think of like Banksy. That's a really easy one to think of, but I think it's interesting when people challenge people's perceptions on what's like okay. The fact that like it bugs a lot of people and it makes a lot of people think art is hoity-toity and and to a point they're fair, okay, but just stuff like Yoko Ono used to sit on a stage and ask people to cut off her clothing as a comment on rape culture.
So for me, I'm going, oh, probably not that.
But what I'm just saying is, I find it really interesting when people go really far beyond, even if it's not everybody's taste, because I appreciate why they went there. I love a whole broad spectrum. That is how she met him.
Really?
Mm-hmm. He went to that show and walked up to her and cut a piece of the clothing off.
Well, I mean, that's one way.
But yeah, he met her at that performance piece.
Dolores said that she's been to a Yoko Ono exhibit and it was amazing. Hey, Kathy with Picasso Cat, thank you for coming.
Oh, I would love to go see that. That would be awesome. I can't wait to get back into museums. That's like my thing that I'm really just like waiting to go back and do. I haven't been in any space that I would consider like superstore size. I haven't been into any like really large space yet, and museums is one I just can't wait to get back.
Now those are opening up now here in Houston. I mean, we've got a big museum. When we went to, small town, South Carolina, Bible Belt, and then I moved to Texas. Still, I'm in like a suburb. I mean, Dolores will tell you, I'm not in Houston. That's a little outside my realm, all of that extra, but we decided that we were going to go to San Francisco. Neither one of us had ever been. Well, you talk about a culture shock. One, I didn't know that weed was legal. And that that you would be, well, I'm like, why does he smell like that? And he was like, oh, you're embarrassing me. And I was like, what is that? Why does this whole place smell like trash? And he's like, oh, just stop talking. Your accent is giving it away to start with, and then you're just saying things out loud that just don't say them, And he was like, oh, geez, Melise, So we go to these art places, and there's a lot of beautiful art, like in alleys.
Yeah.
They actually have artists that we were there. We got to see a guy. He had a piece, and then he turned around and was changing his space. So he had this beautiful thing, and I was thinking, why are you painting over it? And he was like, oh, it's time for something different. And I thought, oh my God, I left that there till I died. But there was a lot of beautiful artwork on those. They were mainly in alleyways, like they're these really seedy like places, but people are just walking by, and but it's beautiful. It really was beautiful art. The interpretation of it, and you would get to see there were just these average people out there with paint and spray cans, and they were just, I stood there watching him. He did not draw one thing to like draw it out, and then he did not. He just took the paint and just ran with it, and I was like, I'm so in awe of that. I am so in awe of that. And I didn't get to go back and see what he had done, like the finished of it, but just looking around, he was like, oh, I did that one and I did that one. And I was like, and you did them all like without drawing it first and then going back in color? And he was like, oh yeah, you just spray. And I thought, right, spray.
Aren't us artists the worst at like making it sound like what we do is magic?
Yeah.
Like, we are the worst.
It's like, a lot harder than y'all make
it. We are the worst. Like, this man has probably been doing his work for like probably 3 or 4 decades, right? Like just think about the cumulative hours. Like, they say it takes 10,000 hours to be an expert at things. He's probably got a triple doctorate degree based on hours, is what I'm saying. Yeah. And he's like, you just spray. Like, us artists, we are such jerks. Like, we make it sound like everything we do is magic. And it's like, no. You have been an artist your entire life.
Right.
Worked on stuff here. I have been an artist since as long as I can remember. I have always had a place to create in every single home I have owned my entire life. I have always had a box of possibilities. My parents nourished me creating my entire life. Every hour, every minute of that all built up to today. It's just, I find it really fascinating though. But us artists, we all do it. We're like, oh, it was no big deal. It was nothing. Yeah. Like, your entire life built up to that. It's that story where Picasso did a scribble on a napkin and the woman was like, can I have it? And he's like, well, that's thousands of dollars. And she was like, it's just a scribble. And he's like, no, that was my life. And it's true, There is this, well, you've seen it on TikTok and Instagram. There is a lot of things where like artists do like this erasure and like their beautiful artwork shows up. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, but it's starting to be a trend where people are like making their art kind of like pop up, like it just showed up.
Oh.
And it used to be first like the fast pace, like you'd watch them do it really fast and it would, and it would go. But it's starting to like become this trend of like magically appearing. And I'm like, artists, stop doing that. Like, and even you said you didn't get to go back to see his whole work. It probably still took him the whole day.
Oh yeah, I think that because I asked him and he said, well, it depends on how, what I add or what details that I add. It can take me 2 or 3 days. And I'm thinking just what you did right here would have taken me 3 weeks because I'd have overthought that, Now I don't do that when, like, I took an old piece of furniture that my mom and dad had, French provisional, and I was like, now I don't measure anything because I can't, not me and numbers, no. But I just was like, I want that in this space in the bathroom. I want a hole cut on the top. I want to put a bowl sink on it and this and this. And they were like, it can't be done. And I was like, what? Like, I had all these men telling me, oh, we can't do that. I was livid. I'm sure my mom heard about that. Because I was like, if one more person tells me we cannot do it, I know that it can be done. If you just move and work the power tool for me so I don't cut off another digit, then I will be fine, Like, stop doing that. Stop telling people it can't be done. Even if it's not easily done, it can be done. And today it's a functioning vanity with a sink, with a beautiful faucet and a porcelain bowl sink on top. And I've painted it. And people are like, oh my gosh, can you make me one? I'm like, no, it took me weeks to do this. And, so that you can hide the plumbing and kind of stuff. And so you think about it, but the coloring and thing, you're like, I know I want this color. And that's what, like, for me, when I'm doing, I know I want this outcome. And now I have to backtrack and figure out how to get that outcome, where what I saw him doing was he was going with the flow and he was letting the media tell him where it was going. And I was like, oh yeah, no. So I was like, so what's it going to be? And he goes, well, I think, and I'm thinking, you didn't have a plan. And he's like, I'll just find out. I'll keep adding to it. Hey, Katie.
I love your mom's comment.
Once you actually see original art, stand just inches away from it. I feel it opens your heart and your mind. Yes, she is the outside. She's the flower child. She, you know, she is very like, it's all open. Like, she's super creative. She can do anything. You know, she can paint something and then she can change the pigtail on a dryer. And I'm like, what? You know, like, she can do all of those things. And she's always pushed me to be like, nope, doesn't have to be this way. You don't just have to wear that shirt with those pants. You can, it doesn't have to be black and white. You can live your life through color, you know? So she really has encouraged me to do that as well. So we got friends in the art washes away the dust of everyday life. Oh, that's cool, Katie.
You know, artists, we have such an amazing gift to pass our empathy on to other people. Very few people have what artists have. Like, I can make people see the world through my eyes. And just a lot of people don't have that ability. You know, I actually think art is very effective if it makes you mad, if you don't understand it, if it makes you laugh. My favorite kind of art is if it makes you smile and laugh. I think that's my absolute favorite. I met this guy who had a pet skunk who made cat mermaid art. And I bought one. I actually own one. And he was like, I think the point of art is just to make you laugh. Like, and I was like, yes, you got life figured out, man. But,
as long as you're happy.
But yeah, just I agree with all of it. I agree, you know, washing away the ashes of everyday life. I'm not even going to try the quote because I'll butcher it. Like, wasn't there a quote after war that was like, then what were we fighting for? Or whatever about art.
What is it? Oh.
You know what I'm talking about, though.
I'm thinking of music lyrics.
Oh, no. Was it Roosevelt?
Add $1 into art. Let them know.
Oh, okay. Well, what he was basically saying was that, you know, the reason we went to war was so that we could have the people making art, so that we could have the singers, the artists, the dancers, the mimes, you know, like the point to go to war is that so we can have these beautiful extras. Like, what is life worth living without the beautiful extras?
Right.
Which is his point.
So many of our people in our community, I think that Sarah from Thrift View just posted this. I think I saw it on I'm not sure, it might have been Facebook, but she's taking that old art, her paint by numbers, the vintage paint by numbers, and she just made a whole wall, like a gallery wall behind her of things that she has thrifted. She found all these paint by number pieces and it looks really cool. And then I also saw, I have this thing about plates. I have no idea where it comes from. I do know my granny had like odd plates, nothing matched, but it was just odd, pretty plates, right? And so I saw in somebody gave me a vintage magazine, and she had taken all of these vintage and antique plates that were just singles and made a beautiful wall in her dining room. But it wasn't just like this way. She kind of took it up into the high corner and down. So it was just spotlighted in a corner, which I thought was really cool. Not only do you see the pretty things, you don't just use them as saucers or things on a stand, but they're on the wall and they don't match. They're not symmetrical. They're not hung in a line. It just kind of accented the corner, and it was so pretty. So I think some of our vintage things definitely can be repurposed into and staged for real art.
So I for sure am going to do a plate wall in the dining room. That is happening. I'm very excited about it. I just found an amazing plate. Oh, I should show you. I'll be off screen for 1 second. It's like right there.
Katie says that Pablo Picasso said that.
Okay.
And she also said, I also like blessed are the artists, for they force us to see the world differently.
I just thrifted this yesterday.
That's pretty. I like the pink.
So what? So an artist did the middle.
Oh, took a plate and then changed the middle.
Yeah, and it's New Orleans.
Well, that is cool.
Isn't that neat? Yeah, I just thrifted this yesterday, and I was like, "Oh, this is amazing." It has some wear. I think I can fix that. Yeah, isn't that amazing what they did?
I wouldn't have even noticed. I guess because I'm watching it on the screen, I wouldn't have noticed the wear. But that is really cool. Another way to repurpose these
Right.
things that ended up in the trash or broken or something like that.
Did you see? Oh my gosh, is her handle the traveling button? Is that the handle? She did a sale with Misty recently. She like took plain milk glass things and put kitschy decals on it and made them amazing. I thought that was so neat.
Yes, and I think Lorianne, she got a bunch of decals. Lorianne, sweet ass stuff, sugar britches. She got a bunch of those decals, and she went around and put it on, like she was putting it on everything, and it just kind of changed it a little bit. But I also I like milk glass, so I like the white because it can then be a canvas for anything. Like my mom's saying, you can anything can be a canvas, and it's Sarah the traveling button is who they're talking about, but anything could be a canvas. I actually know, I think Granny used to repaint her canvases. Like she painted, now my great grandmother painted. She's a beautiful artist. I have a picture of hers. I think it's hanging in the room in there. And Mom, I think you have one, but it's the one where it's the snow, the house in snow or something in winter. But we have seen it where she turned it over or she redid it, you know, was making the best out of it and then would just put it in another frame. And those are really, the frames usually end up broken and things like that, but we can take the artwork out of there. Her home place that's right. It was she painted her home place, like where she grew up. And it was really, really, really pretty. And it's really special. And I think that she painted a tray. She painted one of those old metal trays, and I have that too. But again, I would have to really work at it. I think for her, it came much more naturally than it did for me. She painted it from her memory. That's what Mom is saying, as she remembered it as a child. So this has been so cool. Kathy says her mother painted and so does her husband. I did when I was younger, but I was so critical of my work. Yeah, we were just talking about how I'm like, this is awful. So when we're talking about how to not be stuck in our channels, not be stuck, because you were just talking about that a second ago. Like if you had to be just antiques or just had to be vintage, that would kind of be boring. And we were just talking about this, a couple of the friends of mine that have YouTube channels that, you know, I know people want to see the hauls and they want to see the shop alongs, but I really want to do more of the DIY and more of the repurposing and more of the bake with me's. And so I'm just going to have to push that in because that's kind of what I wanted my channel to be. And I love to go thrifting. Don't get me wrong. I love to find great things, but then I get tired of it just being a haul. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like it to be different.
You'll see your viewers split too. Like people just won't watch the videos they're not interested in. And I mean, that's unfortunate. I posted a video about the book I wrote, and I think maybe 30 people have watched that video. Maybe. Like it just depends. Like what people are interested, they'll go to.
Yeah. But you know, and the deep dives, I love the deep dives.
I do too.
You know, sometimes I don't catch them because most of the time they're live, so I don't catch them or they're and then I forget to go back and watch them. But if you will really watch the deep dives, I know Katie's done deep dives and shown off collections from people, and Patrick does them as well. I think that's where you get a true collector I think that's where you learn the most, because they've really already done the hard work. They're just showing you what they've learned along the way and we've been able to pick up. So I think those are, are really where you're going to get the most bang for your buck as far as learning. Cause it's not as fun as reading it. You know, it's reading it in a book is not as fun as watching someone who adores and handles their collection, you know, and uses that collection.
Yep.
Oh, Mom was talking about my uncle sending her pictures of what he considers wiping off the day, is like the twinkling in the sunset and things like that.
Love that.
So yes, this has been a lot of people saying they love the discussion so much, and thanks for y'all saying that and hanging in there with us. It's been a lot of fun, you know. Creators, like Katherine was explaining to us, we all are, it's when we make or when we create or when we, it's not just that we do it on the computer or that we do it through Canvas or we do it through wood, but you know, sometimes when we put people together and they all do a little bit of everything and you learn from each other, I mean, that's the community, right? That's building other creators up. And it's really fun to get to do that and learn more about people. I mean, you're an author. You've been doing artwork for Disney. I mean, it's all these different things, and you don't always know that if you're just looking at it from, hey, I found her through the vintage community.
Yeah.
A lot of times they just need to go back and watch videos that have been, thank you, Dolores, for dropping her channel in again. And I want to say, make sure that you go and check out some of the videos that we have talked about. She also made a cat condo out of an old TV.
I did make a cat condo.
Now, that was pretty cool.
And I'm spiteful about the whole paint experience. So apparently I didn't do it right. So
I see, I didn't watch all of it. I started watching it and then I you know, when
it's just not super durable.
The paint isn't super durable, or the stand?
The paint isn't super durable. And I did like the special spray cleaner, the prepping layer, the chalk paint, and then like this like gator something over the top to protect it. And it's just not super durable. And I'm just kind of like, anyways, I don't know. Me and chalk paint are probably going to part ways.
Well, I will say this. Sometimes there is a lot of prep because of the oils. Now, see, this is where I can talk to you about it, but because of the oils and the dirt and the varnishes that they use, depending on the era for the furniture.
Yep.
And whether it was a spray or a brush on, sometimes you will either have to sand or strip that varnish off. There is there's a type of paint that I use that has a beautiful prep to it that literally I had cleaned and I had prepped with something else like a natural, but this literally, you would see that old brownish red on there, and that's nothing but dust, oils. It's where the oil actually seeped in some of the chemicals from the old stuff, and while it wasn't shiny anymore, it had actually seeped into the wood, so it removes that. But you also have to let all that dry really, really well. And then chalk paint is about layering. You put on that base coat, then you have to put on 1 to 2 other coats, letting it dry completely in between, or it will pull back off. So when I'm doing things, I'm a very impatient painter. I'm like, come on, I want to see the end result. So what ends up happening to me is I paint it. I got a heat gun. Well, if you use the heat gun and it's too much heat or too fast heat, you will crackle your paint, which some people want that effect. It ages the piece, but you really just need to do over days and let it naturally dry and cure before adding those other coats or any other waxes or anything like that. And then a sealant. Some of the sealants that they give for some of your chalk paints are not a what we call a hardy or water proofing. It's just like it's not like a lacquer. It's just kind of like, oh, we're going to almost put like a Mod Podge over it. And we know that Mod Podge will break down. Over time, it breaks down. So you really do need to use a sealant. So don't give up on it just yet. It may just be that, and you have to touch up chalk paint. That's one of the reasons that people moved away from chalk paint and went to like a clay-based paint, is because chalk paint needs a wax, and they'll tell you, oh, you do not need to go back and re-wax that chalk paint every year. But that's not true, because the wax actually kind of warms up and expands and soaks in and mashes. So you will get easier nicks and stuff like that. So when you do a true chalk painted piece, you do have to wax it multiple times for it to be sturdy.
So
yes, the cat condo is amazing. It was
why you need to do these on your channel, so I can watch and learn.
Yeah, I have a couple of things that I'm going to flip and do. Nate from New Zealand was telling me what he preferred I do with some trays that I found. And he was like, okay, you can paint them, but maybe paint them this, because I was going to go red or something. He was like, no, do white and then do something else. So I have 3 round, well, they're oval footed trays that look like they have a transfer type of old transfer on them. So yes. Oh yes, Daniel, a lot of people do singe their stuff. Yes, they put it down and either burn their work table, or they touch it to they burn themselves, or they touch it to their piece, and it immediately will singe and burn, and then you've just got a divot. So yeah, I feel you on that. I try to be more patient, but it's not. But check out the cat condo, because I thought that was really cool. I don't have a cat or a dog anymore, but I've always wanted to flip one of those TVs, take the whole mechanism out of there and do it. And then I was like, oh, she did it. She actually
It's process.
It was.
Process, yep.
And it's a big piece too. It's not a really small piece.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I would have found one with like the spindle legs and stuff, but you take what you can find. Yeah, but
it turned out to be really, really, really cool. So okay, as we close up, because I know people are about to go off to watch sales, and I really do appreciate you coming on. I don't want to take up too much of your time. This was fun. Tell me what's coming up for you on your channel. Oh, and y'all, she has a website, and her channel is linked in this chat and in the description. And I was going to link her website, and she was like, look, if they go to any of my videos, they can find all of her stuff on there. So what's coming up on your channel and on your website, and just for you?
Yeah, so on my channel, I will be doing your challenge coming up. So
yeah, I forgot about that.
And then next Saturday, I will be doing a premiere, and it is going to be, drum roll. It is going to be a drag story hour for my book, 1 year anniversary of my book. So
well, there you go.
Yeah, so I work for libraries professionally. That's my job, and bringing the drag story hour to our libraries was my most favorite thing we ever did. Of course, it caused controversy, but it also was the most attended program ever in the history of our library. And so I have a friend who does drag, and I was able to hire him to do a story hour with my book. So I know there's been a lot of talk about reading books on channels, but then there's that's a huge copyright issue. We don't own the audio rights, and that's completely true. But girl, I own the audio rights to this book.
It's my book. I can do whatever I want to with it.
Yeah, so that'll be coming up on Saturday. And then just look for the more thrifting, vintage haul stuff, but I really want to do some creative stuff. So just letting you know, October, if you look in last December, I did a lot of videos in a row, and a lot of them were different creative projects. That's what I'm looking forward for October. October, I think there's going to be 2 to 3 videos a week, and they're all going to be creative, spooky, thrift related, antiquing projects. So I'm excited for that. Goodness, I don't know. I hope you come along. I hope you join me. And that's
an art itself, because if I can't even put on mascara without, making big black things. I mean, they are contour queens. I just can't do it. I'm just if you could just do a video on how to at least do something. I mean, because you're lucky I put powder and chapstick on. So it's because I don't know how to do that, and they're oh.
I learned how to do my makeup from a guy. I learned how to do my makeup from Jeffree Star. He has a channel on here. What I didn't understand is I have hooded eyes, and that means you have to put on your makeup differently than people who don't have hooded eyes. And my whole life, no one ever told me that, and so I was wearing makeup wrong. And Jeffree's like, well, I have hooded eyes, so this is how I have to put it on. And I was like, oh my gosh, he has hooded, like I have hooded, what? And so like I mean I learned from Jeffree Star how to do my makeup.
Definitely an art in that makeup and just costumes and dress, and that's a lot of work. I mean, you have to appreciate the art and just the effort that they put into that.
Yeah. And one of our local Queen Utica was just on Drag Race, and she's a local, and she's one of my favorites.
So. Was she really on the RuPaul Drag Race thing? He's a mess. He makes me laugh. So yes, I forgot actually all about, while we were chatting, I forgot about, honestly, my challenge. So if you love to thrift, garage sales, which most people are out doing right now, but garage sales, antique malls, any of that, I am hosting an open collaboration. So it's open if you have Instagram, if you do Facebook, or if you do YouTube. And we are using the hashtag $10 thrift. Wait, $10 thrift challenge summer collab. It's really long. I have a video about it. It is open to everyone. Here's the deal, y'all. You get $10. 10. Not 20, not 50, but $10. You can spend $10. I basically wanted to see, because I know, Christine's in Florida, Dolores is in the UK, Michelle is in Kentucky, and for $10, we all get something different. Now, Dolores lives in pound land over there, so hers is really attributed to pounds, so she only gets £7.15. Oh,
that's not fair. She should be able to do $10.
Well, that's what I said. I said, you could do £10.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, that's fine.
I love that she converted. Actually, my geek heart really loves that, just so you know.
Well, so she and her husband Dave and Lori and Sugar Britches are taking this to the extreme. They're throwing punches and elbows, and they're gonna win. Dave has already proclaimed that he won. So he said, forget y'all, he's won the challenge. And I was like, well, there's no winners or losers. It's an open collab. Everybody participates. And they were like, no, we won.
I ended up spending too much as well. I was doing an auction, and I thought I had a last minute bid, and somebody bid me up $1 more, and I was like, dang it, no, I'm gonna win. And so I bid too much. But
so I told them they could do like $10 pre-tax, because a little bit of extra cushion. You could do multiple stores or shopping trips. I will tell y'all, I went shopping the other day just to do the challenge.
Yeah.
At 4 Goodwills. In one of the Goodwills, dude, I spent 62 cents. I was like, the another one, I spent like $2. And next one, I was like, this is not working. It was awful. I was like, I can't even win my own challenge.
No, I think y'all will enjoy my video. It's going to be a little ridiculous when you see the lot of what I bought. Barbie in the chat knows what it is, but if you see the lot, it is insane. I filled up my car. When you see it's
I want to see like where you shop, if it makes a difference. Like, we know antique shops or antique malls, we're usually not going to get as much for $10 as you at Goodwill. And some people do so well at yard sales, which there's not a lot of those around here. But I mean, when you're getting things for 25 cents that I probably would pay $3 for, it makes a difference. So I'm super excited to see just what everybody can get from their area.
Yes, I'm excited. And you said somebody else was doing auctions too. So I wanted to throw auction in there just to kind of show people that there's different possibilities out there. So
yes, they were shopping. So far, I know someone has shopped an auction, Goodwill, charity shops, flea markets, yard sales, car boot for Dolores and them out there in the UK. They're just Facebook Marketplace. Anywhere somebody is doing part of stuff that they bought from a reseller because it was thrifted. So it's just like mine is coming from a store and a private sale. I spent $10 on those two transactions, 5 here and 5 there. So that's where mine came from. So you can combine them. Kathy did a swap meet and a yard sale.
Nice.
And so, yes, there's all kind of things, and it's getting pretty competitive in the chat here. Janice already says, oh no, she's worked too hard, she's winning. Dolores is saying, oh no, Dave said he's already won. Sugar Britches already told me, go ahead and send her the trophy because she's won. I was like, there's no trophy. She's like, I don't care. Just go ahead and let them know that I won.
Yeah, I did not win. I may not have won, but mine will be fun.
Yes. Well, I didn't win. Now, I do know somebody that went and they spent on the dot $10 in one store. I was like, I spent 62 cents in one, $2 in another one. I was literally trying to spend money that day. Yep. And I just couldn't find anything. So,
how it goes. Like, it's just, yeah, you never know.
Now, if you go and you're like, probably won't find anything, I only have like 15 minutes, you're going to spend $100 and you're going to find everything that you want. So, yes. So the challenge is you get $10. You can only spend $10. Now, you can spend $8, whatever, but say you take $10 with you. What can you get for $10? And then either do a haul for us, post pictures for us, do a shop along and a haul for us. I just want to see what you got because I just want to see what people can get. You will post them on the 16th of June at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But there is a video of mine that explains it all, how to be attached to the playlist. I'll actually be including the playlist on that particular video's comments on the 14th. So I've got to do my own video to create a playlist so I can give y'all the link to add to your libraries. But if you have any problems with it, y'all just call me because sometimes the links are wonky and I'll just do another workaround for you. Dolores is all excited. She heard the word trophy. So
I'm trying not to glance down to look at the chat because I know it looks weird, but some of the comments, y'all are a hoot. I love the chats. Everybody is so funny. I always kind of feel bad. I'm a lurker when it comes to chats a lot because I'm doing other things, but God, you all are so funny. I love it. I love you guys. You're so funny.
I love the chats because that's why I met you through the chat. I met Daniel through the chat, Dolores. I met Christine and Michelle. Everybody that I met was through the chat. I didn't know anyone. Even the people here, Martha and Tammy from Vintage Uprising Texas and Vintage Conversation. That's how we met, and we got to meet up and actually thrift. And I'm so jealous that you got to go to Jeffrey's. One day I'll go if he has it.
I hope that he does it again in the fall, and I hope more people come out for it. So there is just something different about meeting people in real life. Like, I just want to talk to you. Like, I want to meet you, my dear.
Yeah. Like, is there a real person? Yes, back there. So, yeah, we're always trying to multitask and watch as many videos as we can. But make sure that you go to Catherine's channel and that you subscribe to her channel. Of course, if you're not already subscribed to mine, I'd love for you to be subscribed and be part of my YouTube family. Make sure before today, yes, she says hit that bell to all notifications, because if you put it on personalized, I don't know what that means, but I don't get my notifications. I had to go back and change people to all. And check your subscriptions, because one of the things that we have figured out is, I guess I thought I do a rotation to watch everybody's videos so that I can be fair and to manage my time. But if I'm not watching a certain amount, my subscription disappeared. I went to look for Yvonne. I went to watch a video of hers and she wasn't on my subscription list. And I know that I've been watching her. It just disappeared. So
I've had that happen before too. I've had people drop off and I'm like, I know I was subscribed to you. Yes, I've had that happen.
Yeah, and it made people so uncomfortable. Catherine and I were laughing yesterday in the chat. Somehow I got to 666 subscribers, 666 subscribers.
Yep.
And people were messaging me like crazy. They were like, do you know you have 666 subscribers? Should I unsubscribe? One person comment, I think I should unsubscribe. And it would go to like 668, 666, 665, 669. And it's been but it kept leading on 666. So finally I was like, look, y'all, it's bothering people. It really nervous. So y'all just, everybody go subscribe that's not subscribed. And that way, if it falls back down, we won't be on 666. You know, I mean, I'm covered by the blood. I'm good. I'm not superstitious. But Katherine said that happened to her too, that people really superstitious about that number. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, actually, I was like, daggone it. I thought I was at 668. And then they were like, no, girl, you're at 666. This is bad. I'm like, okay.
I definitely played with it when I was at that number and was silly about it.
I couldn't figure out why I kept getting random messages from people. Do you know you have 666? And I was like, is this spam? Like, I didn't know that. And then I was like, oh Lord, I do. And it's making people uncomfortable. So everybody go subscribed if you're not, so we can get over this hump and move on. But make sure before you leave today that you give this video a thumbs up, the chat. Again, follow us on Instagram as well. I know she puts out some things. You have live sales every once in a while.
Every once in a while. I don't have the capacity to do one this month with moving and such. So I've been throwing around some ideas. Leave a comment in this, if in the like the real video, if you watch this later. So I was thinking my next live sale could be a container sale. So anything that holds anything, we're talking recipe boxes from vases to planters to tins. Or I was also thinking an all kitsch sale. So let me know.
It's big. Kitsch is big.
It is, but also, you know, I have containers like this.
Now that's cute.
Wait.
My favorite was when you got like 200 planters.
So there's some amazing containers. So,
well, I mean, just do one now and one later. Yeah,
but I want to know which one people want to see.
So what she's saying is not in the live chat, y'all. Not in the live chat, but once we close out, go to the comment section so she can get back in it. I think you can get back in it. You just would have to go through.
Oh, and roll it. Yeah. Okay.
Go back in the comments and tell her what kind of live sale, a container sale. And so basically you just saw she considers a swung vase a container because you can technically put something in it, or a kitsch sale. So I know that I have a sale coming up on the 10th of June, and it's a summer vacay. So anything that relates to summer vacation or travel or anything like that is going to be in the sale. And then I'm actually going to go see my mama, y'all. Haven't seen my mom since Christmas, and I get to go to Myrtle Beach. So life will be grand for me for a couple of days because I get to go there. I'm sure I'm going to go thrifting. I mean, who doesn't thrift on vacation, right? And then the day after I come back, Sabrina Simon and I are going to have a short little sale together, each having like 20 items. So that will be fun. So I just want to say thanks again, Katherine. It has been amazing to get to finally like interact with you, not through the chat or Instagram chat, but to kind of talk with you face to face. And I really appreciate you taking the time out during your move and everything to do this. And so just want to say, y'all, thanks so much for watching. And until next time, y'all stay pretty and be sweet. Bye, y'all. See you next time.